Okay, so first off, I just want to say, I get it.
You get what?
High school.
Kamala.
Another Avengers shirt. Cute.
She thinks I'm some kind of weirdo.
You were a weirdo.
So tell me, I heard that you were a Marvel fan before getting this job. Tell us a little bit about your Marvel fandom and how deep it went.
Oh, it was deep. I think I got heavily into like comic books and movies when I was like in 7th grade. I mean, I grew up with the MCU, but 7th grade really something clicked. And Iron Man was kind of my main. I love Robert Downey Jr. and everything about him and about Tony Stark. So yeah, I read all the comics of Invincible Iron Man and Silver Surfer, and those were kind of my go-tos. But I'd never really had females in the comics that I looked up to too much until I ran across Miss Marvel after I read an Ironheart comic. And yeah, she meant the world to me, and it was crazy. Like I cosplayed as her when I was 15, and I read all of her comics, and yeah, it's so important to showcase fan culture, and I think Miss Marvel was, the comics and even our show just really embrace fan culture and appreciate it and acknowledge the amount of work that goes into being a Marvel fan, because it's a lot. The Marvel fandom is demanding. We're 34 projects in, and you have to keep up with everything. Like all the subreddits, all the online forums, all the fan art, all the cosplays, all the fanfic, breaking down trailers frame by frame, breaking down posters inch by inch. Like there's so much work, and people really put in their time and dedication to just express their passion. And I think that's so great, and that's how I grew up, and that's how obsessive I was over this, and to be kind of sharing my love of the MCU and of Marvel through Kamala and through this show is just so wonderful.
So we see Kamala, learning her powers, at least in the first couple of episodes. What sets her powers apart from other heroes that we've seen so far in the MCU?
Well, we have adapted the powers from the comics and had to reimagine them in a way to kind of fit the direction that the MCU is heading. But I think what's most important is that we stay true to the themes from the comic books, and that was about identity and about marrying, all those 50 million things that when combined make Kamala Kamala. We don't root for her because of her powers or because of her costume. That's not the reason we root for any character. It's because of their motivations, their, the reason they fight, the reason they get up, who they're fighting for, their morals, their values. And so Kamala just has such a strong sense of self and strong, moral code. And I think it's so incredible that she's basically living every fan's dream. What happens when you give a super fan a set of powers, and just she has this innate desire to want to help people and do the right thing. And she doesn't know how to fight crime or how to fight in a real fight at all. She's 16, but she knows that she has these powers and she has to use them for good, and yeah, she becomes a really cool superhero.
I ask everyone from the MCU this question: what's your favorite Marvel movie or
Iron
TV
Man.
series?
Iron Man.
It's still Iron Man. You're sticking with that.
Yup.
Okay, but this is one I've never asked somebody. Who's the strongest Avenger?
Wanda.
100%? You sure about that?
Yes.
So who would you like to see, hypothetical, who would you like to see Kamala team up with from the MCU?
Ooh, I want Kamala to team up with Groot. I think that would be hilarious. Just her and a talking tree. I want to see what that interaction is. I think she brings out just all the Guardians. I think she brings out so much life and joy out of the people she's on screen with. And, how much does she know about the Guardians? And like, how much do they know about her? It would be a really funny interaction. I think that would be fun. Also, like America Chavez, Kate Bishop, I want to see some young Avengers type team up. That'd be really fun. Yeah, honestly, anyone.
So there's a line that you say in the show: I'm a brown girl from Jersey and we don't become superheroes. Iman, tell me a little bit about what this means to you in terms of representation and the kinds of people and the kinds of characters that we see now on the screen telling these stories.
Yeah, I mean, it's first of all so incredible that a company with as wide of a reach as Marvel is creating space for characters like Kamala to kind of exist. These movies literally play all over the world. It's so important that we represent people all over the world accurately. And Marvel taking steps for more inclusivity in their films is so incredibly important. And yeah, I mean, we're kind of showcasing a side that hasn't been seen before. And for me, it was so important because I kind of reconnected with my culture. You know, growing up, I felt kind of disconnected from my Pakistani and Muslim roots, which is, you know, my family tried. I mean, I grew up watching Bollywood movies. I grew up with my grandparents, but still, I was so obsessed with Hollywood and American pop culture, and I never saw myself represented in that element. So I just didn't think those things went hand in hand. And now here I am working with, you know, so many incredibly talented Muslim and South Asian creatives who all just are so in touch with their culture, and that really made me want to reconnect with mine. And I think people seeing, you know, a character like Kamala and an actor like me and names in our credits like the ones that we have is just going to be really inspiring. And I hope that that encourages people to kind of tell their stories and of what their Muslim experience was like, or growing up South Asian in, you know, Canada or in America or wherever. And so, yeah, the story can't represent everyone, but it's a start.
Yeah, 100%. I think my niece is going to love it, and it's great that she's going to have somebody like you to be able to look up to. We still don't know too much about the villain. Can you sum up the villain for me in a couple words or one word?
Nope. I've been specifically trained to not talk about it, but they're there.
Maybe they're right. I spend too much time in fantasy land.
That is not you.
It's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who save the world. That's a fantasy too.